Welcome back. Today we're discussing the evolution of Social Security and thinking about the question, how has being disabled in America affected people's economic opportunities? So I just want to start off, as usual, with a little do now. I want you to think about, what is Social Security? Do you think it has a net positive or net impact on society? So just think about that for 1 second. Okay, so Social Security is a program that is run by the federal government, and it essentially gives money to retired Americans, and they get money by putting money into the program when they work, and they pay for the generation above them. So when they retire, the generation below them pays for their Social Security. So, for example, millennials are paying for boomers. Uh, Millennials are paying for the Social Security of Gen X and boomers. And when millennials retire, Gen Z and Gen Alpha will pay for their Social Security. So, do I think it has a net positive or net impact or negative impact on society? I think it has a net positive impact because it provides money to people in retirement. So, it makes sure that people who are older are able to retire and are able to enjoy their life after contributing to society for so long, and that elders are taken care of, which is very important. So, I want to start off by discussing the Social Security Act of 1935. This act was part of FDR's New Deal programs, and it established the Social Security program that was funded by payroll taxes. It provided payments to the elderly and the poor and created unemployment insurance. It provided medical care to disabled children, and it provided financial assistance to the blind. And then the Social Security Act amendments of 1950 added additional federal grants for disabled people. It provided payments for the parents of disabled people and disabled children, and it matched state expenditures for assistance to the blind and the elderly. The 1956 amendment provided monthly benefits to disabled workers ages 54 to 60. It paid child's benefits to disabled children 18 plus of retired or deceased workers, but the disability had to begin before age 18 in childhood. So the 1958 amendment increased benefits for dependents of disabled workers. It changed the amount of earnings to be taxed for the program. It extended medical coverage, and it extended the program and all the benefits to Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. The 1960 amendments increased medical grants for elderly and old age assistance. Old age and survivors insurance expanded to provide disability insurance benefits to disabled workers and their dependents, and it made it much easier to prove disability. The 1965 amendment established Medicare and Medicaid and increased disability benefits by 7%. It widened the definition of disability, and it established a program to provide medical assistance for the disabled. And it also removed limitations on participation in the program. The Disability Benefits Reform Act of 1984 allowed the Secretary of Health and Human Services to terminate entitlement to disability insurance, supplemental income, or benefits by determining that the disability has ended. There has to be evidence that the person can go back to work or that new treatments have become available to them. And it created a system of appeals for the revocation of benefits. The Employment Opportunities for Disabled Americans Act of 1986 allowed people to keep their supplemental income and disability insurance after getting a job and their medical insurance. And it created new rules to determine whether a person's earnings could replace their disability benefits, and it expanded Medicaid coverage. So, overall, how does the evolution of Social Security represent changing attitudes about disabilities? Do you think there were an overall improvement or deterioration in the treatment view of disabled people by Social Security? So, just pause the video right here, take a quick second to reflect on that. Okay, so as we can see, from the first act in 1934 up to the end of the Lyndon B. Johnson era into the Nixon era, there was a lot of support of disabled people and expanding benefits to ensure that anyone with a disability could easily get the support that they needed and the medical care that they needed, and that their children or parents would be taken care of. But as we enter the conservative revolution, so Reagan's presidency mostly, we can see that there have been cutbacks on those programs, and that any amendments to the programs have made it easier to revoke Social Security for disabled people, have made it easier for people to lose their benefits based off of income, things like that. So overall, you can see that there's an improvement in the treatment and view of disabled people up to Reagan's presidency, when there's a deterioration because of the way that the conservative movement viewed people, and disabled people especially, as a burden rather than as people. So once again, thank you for joining me. And as usual, I'll link the primary source document in the description. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much, guys.